The film begins by showing us at B. And traveling in an armadillo begins to tell that 500 years ago they lived next to the dragons, but one day the dragons arrived. Drum and began converting to the people in stones the dragons. They fought but lost the last dragon. So he supposed a twins beat coming back. All normal except dragons. But everyone started fighting for the gem to get dragon power. We see Ray putting on a costume and start walking through a tunnel. He finds out there are traps, so he pulls out an armadillo and starts rolling by activating the traps. Line reaches the end and start to open the door. They meet some stairs, and when you go up is the boss. Come and Line, take your weapons and start it to attack. We see which king is very skillful fighting and win. Since I touch the circle of stone takes off the mask, and we discovered that his father and that he spent the test kneel before the gem and say that his family is in charge of protect her. They come out of the cave and Line goes walking next to his father, begins to talk about the other lands, qa suffocating desert with mercenaries who they fight. Dirty Claw, a floating market with fast fighters. Column, an icy bamboo forest with great warriors and with axes and fangs. Or fierce with murderers and furious cats. His father tells him that he is on his way. Since I invite them to a dinner, they begin to arrive. The different tribes that exist and gather in the Heart tribe. The chief says a few words, but the other leaders they begin to claim for what scratches. Goes downstairs, wonders who is hungry, so a girl will approaches her and introduces herself as Anna. Fang Marie are inside the palace in the sea, and I know that in Fang there are many problems. I take out a parchment and tells the story. You say that now sleep where the river ends, and that if find the problems would end the sea, and gives him his striped collar for what that Line tells him to accompany her. We see that they arrive at the cave and shows him the gem, the sea, and attacks Lightning for the gem, so they start to fight and Stripe beats him, but Anna Marie threw one kind of flare and start to arrive. People of the tribe of him comes the father of king and start fighting with people. But the other villages come if they want. Also the gem, the boss tries to come at people, but someone shoots a arrow, so the other tribes take advantage of new for the gem, but they are wanted to the floor and it breaks, causing the whole place starts from, and that lumps are released. Father Rail grabs a piece of gem and it scares them. See what image they end up. They start stealing. He grabs his pair and they begin to escape, and the father that counts that the water repels him. They are on the bridge and say goodbye Line, and he throws her into the river and he is turned into stone. 6 years pass. If we are in the tail tribe, Line her armadillo and in foresight turned into stone. I take out a map and we see that she is exploring places, but suddenly they attack Drum, so Ray takes his bag and takes out the great drum. He leaves, his armadillo turns, and they continue the journey. Arrive at a destroyed ship and follow the path of the water. Take out the dragon scroll and try to communicate with her. Start to cast water in a goblet, which causes bubbles come out of the water. They begin to gather the bubbles and Zazu appears. Zazu is happy since she saved the humans, but Raya tells her that she was asleep for 500 years and they broke the gem, so if hers says that she no longer she created the gem, just handed it over, grab the gem and begins to shine. Streak says that she can save the world and that only they must assemble the gem. A group of Fang, where is Line, and we see the sea and says they are looking for Lightning to remove the parchment. They arrive at the ship, but Ray was already gone. Rayla thus explains hers that each tribute and a piece of the gem, if hers is disguised for not attract attention but activate a trap, and Line saves her, begin to cross the traps and continue the journey. If your yells, so you kings freaked out and he draws his sword, but it was nothing. They arrived at the end of the cave and is still a gem in a lightning tree or his sword to jump and Get to the other side, start using a branch to grab the gem if it's claw. Female becomes human but suddenly the sea wins and the people of it line him. Returns the scroll to her and tells her that she found Zizia, so she activates the trap and begin to flee the chasing and reactive insects that explode climb the armadillo and they start to run away but they keep after them. They jump into the water so they stop. Follow them, get into a boat and we see that it was a restaurant but you see that they come to see and for what she gives him money. For her to carry them she grabs a claw from the money and she starts rocking the boat if her. She jumps into the water and uses her tail as a motor and they go at great speed so the sea and returns to his tribe. If that transforms into a human and comes back to the boom boat, he prepares food for them, who begin to eat a yellow sioux tribe and we see the dragons converted in stone while scratching if they travel in the boat and there are many of one around. If you says that drums are the opposite of dragons and says that he lost his family, see lights in the distance and arrive. Grab line says so her cast and not scammers so you should stay lined together armadillo house of the leader. But well, a baby crying in a alley approaches and picks her up but at turning around showing some that they were stealing the baby hit a stripe and she begins to see with the monkeys so Ray chases her if her bait from the boat. She starts spying things on credit for what people come up to and tell you that she is stealing but an old lady arrives and that they leave her and she takes her stripes continues chasing baby but when she was close she escapes him. She appears from again the army and arrests them so returns in the gem line offers them a work and accepts go to the one who does the leader and distract the guards and king. Take the opportunity to enter is approaching by behind a man and we see that he was only a florist and says they changed leader and is one more ruthless if his. Keep walking with the old lady and they leave of the city. We see that there are people. I turn to stone and the drums are coming. But they leave since the wallet is the leader. With the gem they are about to close the door. But Root appears and steals the gem. Hands the gem to Zizu and begins to come out. Mist arrive at the ship and we see that the baby and the monkeys were eating. We are in Tusk and we see the leader. With the gem they reach the sea and he says that king is gathering the gems and they should catch him to what his mother accepts. The column runs down from the boat. So line begins to follow her. Yes. You knock on the door but you get caught in a trap are released and we see that they have tied up in a room the leader and tells them that they will not stay with. The gem approaches them but suddenly she is attacked by the armadillo and they begin to tie. Boom releases them and he says that I have a fang but we see that everyone turned to stone and he is the sole survivor. Introduces himself as Tom and Ray ask him for help and he accepts. Stripes leaves the tribe and finds with the sea and they start to fight and we see his skills but raise his sword and I took away the weapon but then in the sea and he takes it away from her. If it goes up what a line it is. Losing for what he transforms into dragon and start throwing smoke and all. When they see them that they have surprised they leave in the boat and they want explanations and say that will help them beat the lumps. If you acquire magic from your brother, which is the rain and begins to tread water drops to fly through the sky. Stripes takes out the mop and explains where the gem is hidden. Something that one says that he has a plan. First he will distract him and then Tom use giant Sweden while the monkeys and the baby steal the gem to later take the Aziza and that he has the powers and everyone accepts. Follow that plan. Did so keep flying to heart that are in the ancient cave. And if the account of him what happened 500 years ago. His brothers began to merge their magics and created the burning of the dragon. They gave her and turned them into stone. Met with the father of Ryan and agrees to follow Siso's plan and they will begin to love and that help they come to to love and with her mother and says yes, but her mother says that then she will be in against them for what happened. It begins to filter the baby equipment and the monkeys and arrive at the room of the sea, and they leave a note the next day. She meets line up with the Mari and give her the gem. He appears without love and points at them and says that yes, I am the gems, and they were with her. So that line took the sword out of her and they hit Mari and shoot, hitting Zazu. Zazu falls to the water and the water begins to disappear. So no one has the droogs anymore. He scratched with his gun towards the palace and we see that they were loving and her mother that turned to stone. They begin to fight Gina Marie while the others start saving people. Regina Maries keep fighting and says that it was not her intention for all this to happen. Raya leaves and begins to help his friends almost turn to stone armadillo, but they come to love and save him. The ground begins to break and that in a cave full of smoke. She tells them that they must collect the gems and they must trust for what she gives him. The weak Mori and she is turned to stone so that others trust and give the gem also end up becoming stone next to out only Mari, and she starts to count the gem, but no, it works and it's turning to stone. It also suddenly turns back on the gem and a great light is created. Destroying towards the lumps begins to rain, and with the water everyone returns to the normally come out of the cave, and let's see how far the dragons returned. They begin to spin in the water and they manage to revive, so his take returns to his tribe and reunites with her family as well. That the baby who meets her mother and a return on the boat were waiting for a line. They return the armadillo to its from her home and meets her father, and Hugs arrives at Zazu and they start to people from the other tribes arrive. This is how the movie ends. Don't forget subscribe and leave a like and comment more movies you would like watch on channel.